truth, money, success follows if you are honest to yourself.
Yeah.
You believe what you believe and you stand by it, whether or not the world is coming against you. One person sent a text message back, and what she wrote in that text message broke my heart. The text message said, God, I'm going to flipping cry.
Hello and welcome to the Diaries of Success podcast. This is the first episode of this great podcast. We're going to put the light on a lot of topics, but we're going to bring so many successful people to the point where the knowledge they have is going to be shared on our platform. Well, without any further ado, I want to talk to you today about my favorite topic ever, which is property investment. But we have a guest that is going to be sharing with us his years of expertise. But before we do that, and before I introduce my guest, I want to tell you that the Diaries of Success podcast is not like any other podcast. We don't believe in something that's called the formula of success. We believe that everyone's journey of success is different to another. And this is why we want to share all of this with you guys. Without any further ado, and I'm honored to be having one of the biggest investors, the leading property investors in the UK, Mr. TJ Atkinson.
Woo, woo, woo. That introduction was perfect. And I know my mum sent that to you, right? My mum made you say that. No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's such an honor to be here.
Thank you very much for accepting my invitation and being my first guest.
I couldn't say no. Of course I had to do this.
Well, let's introduce you. Okay. TJ, I didn't want to say a lot. I just wanted to put a title on it. Okay. But who is TJ Atkinson? Do
you know what's so crazy? I do a lot of podcasts and I get asked this question and I never know how to answer it. I'm a property investor. Uh-huh. I'm a property mentor. And I'm an all-round troublemaker. I'm someone that speaks my mind, and
I love that.
I don't mince my words. I think there's so much value that's missing out there, and I think we need a lot more straight talkers. I think we need a lot more people who have attained a level of success who are not afraid to show it. So yeah, that's who I am. I'm a troublemaker.
To be honest with you, I love that.
Yeah.
Because you speak your mind, right? I mean, look, I'm becoming a podcast junkie. I'm watching a lot of podcasts lately, and I've seen people just being very cliche.
Yeah, it's dry. Most podcasts are super dry because, number one, the host is dry, the guest is dry, and they're just giving the same basic information every single day. It's boring.
Absolutely. So, well, look, let's talk about your journey. Okay. Let's talk of why property, when you started. So, is property what made you successful?
No. See, I don't think there's one thing that makes somebody successful. You can't, so this sounds crazy. You can't identify. I know nowadays you can identify as anything you want. You can't identify as successful. Success is, in quotes, evidential.
Right.
There's got to be evidence. I can't wake up and say, oh, I'm successful today. There's got to be a backstory. Yeah. There's got to be examples. There's got to be trial and errors. There's got to be lessons, and there's got to be results. So I wouldn't say property specifically is what made me successful. I made most of my money in property, but my success happened many years ago when I learned what success really was.
So according to you, what is success?
No, according to what any person that's attained a level of success starts with the mindset.
Right.
Success starts with believing that you can be successful, and success starts with eradicating the crappy. Can I swear?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah? This is an uncensored
Okay, cool.
It's an uncensored show.
Yeah. So most people can't attain success. We'll talk about the definition in a second. Most people can't attain success because of the shitty data, the shitty information that they've believed. What you believe will determine the output, the outcome, and the result. So if you come from a background, if you come from a place where no one's been successful, you haven't been able to recognize what success is, then how do you even know what it is? How do you even know that you can attain it? So
or even if you are.
Even if you are successful. In fact, you're correct. If there is no barometer, if there's no gauge on what success is, how do you attain it? And that's where most people struggle. So everything that I say, mainly on podcasts, is before we talk about success, we've got to talk about the mindset.
Yeah.
Many people want to skip this part. They want to talk about, TJ, how do I make money? Well, you can only make money if we've dealt with the mindset. You've got to believe that you're capable of making money. Most people look forward to this elusive 6 figures. And let's be frank, in this current climate, I've got to be cautious how I say it because 6 figures is a lot of money. But for an entrepreneur, 6 figures, it's doable.
It's doable.
Does that make sense? But people set their sights on just 6 figures, whereas there are bigger goals. And it comes down to what you've been taught, what you've believed, and what you believe about yourself. So again, I scream and shout this every single time I jump on a podcast. There's a book that I recommend to every single person. It's a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shard Helmstetter. Because you and I are always having conversations in our minds, not verbally, not physically. Our minds are always talking. So if your mum said to you, you can't achieve this. If your dad said, hey, you're useless. If somebody said something to you and you believed it, it governs your behavior. And your behavior will determine your output. Your behavior will determine what you put out there, your results. And I think fundamentally, success is attainable to every single person. But most people can't catch it. Success is this thing. It's floating around. It doesn't belong to one person. It's floating around. And the people who understand it can usually attain it.
And as cliche as it sounds, we say, oh, your mindset. We hear it every day, right? Yeah. Like, how many people wake up every morning, just put a motivational video on YouTube and listen to it, but still are not there yet? Well, thank you very much. I love that. Now, so you are a successful person. You said to me that, well, you just defined what success is. What makes you a successful person, and how and why do you see yourself as a succcessful person? Well, I do see you as a successful person.
Do you?
I do. I definitely do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here as my guest.
Why would I define myself as successful? Again, as I said, it's evidential. Success, you don't wake up and identify as successful. You can wake up and identify as anything else. I could wake up and say, you know what, I'm a guinea pig today. Yeah. But the truth is, success is the results. Does that make sense? Now we've got to ask ourselves, what are we using as the measurement for success? Is it how much money you've made? Is it the impact you've had on other people? Is it how much money you have in your bank? Is it your asset column? It really comes down to, is there evidence of something that you've set out to achieve and you have achieved it? A lot of people mix this stuff up. Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. And they change their Instagram bio and their LinkedIn bio to entrepreneur. That doesn't make you an entrepreneur.
What does entrepreneur mean? It's like we understand it, but then someone who is just starting.
You're not an entrepreneur. You're an aspiring entrepreneur. There's a big difference. Entrepreneurs have results. You've started a business, you've got results. You are on your path. But just this whole glorified idea of being an entrepreneur, it's played out. Because everything comes down to results. That's what success is, results.
And you said something earlier about having a 6 figures business, and that's how you to us, as you said, now that we know it. Don't get me wrong, when I first started, 6 figures sounded like a lot. I used to work for Selfridges. I was getting the minimum wage, and I was that perfume girl, and I was, I was saving 200, 300 pounds at the end of the month. And I'm like, if I can get it to save 500, that sounded like a lot. So having a 6-figure business, oh my God. But now that I've achieved it and I've done way past that, it's just like sometimes we spend 6 figures on advertising.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what's so funny? I spend 6 figures a year on advertising myself.
Yeah.
And that's someone's salary. Again, this is not to put anyone down. It's to say everything that you do is fundamentally based on who has taught you it. Whether it's your environment, whether it's your parents, and you've got to catch what you believe and why you believe it.
Yeah.
This is why people are not successful. And I love that your podcast is fundamentally about teaching people about success. Who you are is determined by the information that you have believed. Does that make sense? It's what you've bought into that is going to govern the action that you take, then the results that you get. And for most people, I feel bad because you only do what you know and you don't know that you need change. And then there's this silly narrative online. It's a 2022 or 2021 belief that everyone is adequate enough. People say, oh my God, you don't need to change anything about yourself. Oh, you are perfect as you are. The truth is this. Who you are today is not adequate or suitable enough to take you to the next level. You need more information. You need more training. You need support. You need to change your belief system. I find it interesting when people say, this is who I am. On a molecular level, on a biological level, who you are changes every single day. We're shedding skin. We're shedding cells. Your brain is changing. The patterns, the way you think is changing. But yet you refuse to read a book. You refuse to get mentors. You refuse to listen to a podcast that's going to shift the way you think. success isn't this ideology, it's a thing. And you've got to discover what it is and as much as I hate that word, you've got to lean into it, buy into it, and then figure out what you need to do to achieve that specific goal.
Right. So believing at the beginning, well, obviously you have to believe in something that's doable. It's not like, okay, yeah, you know what, in 1 year I'm going to be a billionaire. Yeah. It's like, okay, having that baby steps as well and just preparing for it, isn't it? You said something very important, is just getting someone or following the steps of someone who's done it before. I mean, we've heard this and people are still not doing it. I mean, look, we're giving this free information, for example, right now, right? And it's accessible to everybody. And we're telling them how we've done it. Mm-hmm. But yet there are still people who are very narrow-minded and not following our steps and not doing what we're telling them to do. And yet they're still poor.
So sorry about that. So I've developed a new way to look at that. Previously, I would have been like, hey, here's the information, go and do it. But this is why I keep circling back to, we are who we've been taught that we are. Your environment will determine the behaviors that you take. I came across a study recently. I was writing a book about financial education and I was researching into it. And I came across evidence as to why certain generations, certain demographics, certain groups of people stay poor. Like if you look at the data, there was something released by the BBC and a couple of charities a few years ago, and it categorically showed why Black Africans were at the bottom of the real estate and property ladder in the UK. That broke my heart. Because if we look at it logically, and you look at it maybe from a science point of view, so there's a guy called Brian Diaz and Ken Ressler, both psychologists or in Emory University in Canada or somewhere in the US. And they did research. They took mice and they introduced these mice to a certain smell. And then they gave the mice an electric shock. So that means the mice associated this smell with something negative. Have you come across this before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So when the mice came across this electric shock associated with that smell, it made them jump and panicky. So they extracted semen from these mice, and then they inserted it into the grandkids of the first mice. Yeah. And then they introduced the grandkids, that's 2 generations down, to that same smell, and it caused the grandkid mice to have the same physical, visceral reaction that the granddaddy or grandmum mice have had. Now, catch this. If you look at it properly, from a psychological and science point of view, that's the evidence right there why there's a generational issue with regards to wealth creation. What somebody was taught 10, 20, 100 years ago determines what they then taught their kids, which then determines what they then taught their children. And that's why we see intergenerational issues flowing and flowing and flowing. So you say, why do some people not take the information and run with it? Because they haven't dealt with the internal traumas. You haven't dealt with the issues that stop you and block you from creating wealth. Wealth fundamentally is not associated to one specific industry. It's associated to the action that you do. That's it. It's action. Wealth is action. Wealth is created. Many people talk about, well, the rich are getting richer. No, the rich are taking action. But also, the rich have a distinct advantage. The rich teach their children from young about money. Yeah. They teach them that money is this thing that can be lost, that can be made, but it's derived from action and value. Right. So most people don't even believe that they can create wealth. So when you and I are sitting here and saying 6 figures is, it's our advertising spend, or we spend that on so-and-so period of time, people are saying, oh, well, you know what, maybe they were just lucky. And I hate that narrative. Nobody on this earth gets to pretend that I've been successful because I was lucky. Right. Yes. And many people want to lean into that because Lisa Nichols said something. Do you know Lisa Nichols? Yeah. She said, you don't get to make me some superhero to justify your inadequacies. So you don't get to make me look like I'm doing something so astronomical, something so extraordinary, because you want a reason to believe that you can't do it.
But also, there is something that's called investment, right? So when we first started and got just a little bit of money, we know how £100 can make me £1,000. Yeah. And then when I make £1,000, I want that £1,000 to make me 10,000 and vice versa. I've been listening to this podcast, and then I've heard something very, very important that says some people do like to keep money on the table and like to save it. Yeah. This is what middle class is doing, and this is why middle class stays as middle class. Yeah. It's because they know they don't want to run out of money, so they're saving it and they're keeping it just in case something happens one day. Yeah. Whereas a rich man, or a wealthy man, I would like to say, is someone who takes whatever he has, at least 20% of the whole capital, and put it into investment that will generate him in the future. Yeah. So when we're talking about having 100,000 or 200,000 or six figure in general in investment, I know that's going to bring me a seven figures in the long run.
So it's interesting because I think on a different podcast, I spoke about my investment philosophy. What makes money? So I mentioned something which I think would be interesting for your listeners. The hardest thing in this earth is not to take someone and fly them into space. The hardest thing is to turn money into more money. It's evidence, it's factual, because we see that 99% of the population live below some sort of average means. We've got a 1% of people who are rich, and we've got the 99% who work for that group of people. The most difficult thing is to take money, take a pound and turn that pound into £10. It's hard because guess what? There's risk associated.
Yeah.
As you just mentioned, there are people that you have some money, you want to put it aside because you don't want to risk losing that money. But smarter people, investors, we play a totally different game. We understand risk reward. And our brains work in a certain way that, oh my God, if I take a risk, it might just pay off. There's also a chance that it might not pay off. But in our mind, we would rather take that risk to see what happens. Yeah. So talking about my investment.
With the right mentorship.
You need the right. So let's jump into mentorship, actually, because it's one of my favorite topics in the world. I look at mentorship like this. You're walking down a dark alley. And as you take a right turn on that dark alley, there's someone round the corner ready to rob you, steal your phone, steal your bag. But if you had a mentor, the mentor, this is their job. A good mentor has been down that alley, taken a right turn, seen that there's a armed robber or someone ready to rob you, and then they tell you, don't go down that corner. That is the power of mentorship. So let me talk to you about how I discovered mentoring and then why I eventually became a mentor. Yeah. I came across these three brothers. They're called the Samoa brothers, German guys. Their business model is how any of my businesses operate. I'm not interested. I'm not the most creative person. I'm not the most sharpest person. So I learned something called emulation. Emulation simply means copy. I'm the biggest copycat in the world. I see someone doing it. We mentioned a couple of people earlier on, that people that I've seen that are doing something. Yeah. My mum would say all the time, if he can do it or she can do it, why can't you do it? Yeah.
Don't reinvent the wheel.
Why are you reinventing the wheel? And that's what most people, hey, TJ, I'm going to start a business where I'm selling T-shirts, but inside the T-shirts, it's got cups of coffee and you can sip the coffee. And like, bro, just look at what's going on in the market and emulate it. Now, if we talk about the Samoa brothers, they are worth about 6 billion euros. But guess what they've done? They've copied successful businesses. So they've got their own version of Amazon. They've got their own version of Just Eat. They've got their own version of Uber. Wow. Because guess what you've done? You've emulated, but you're playing second place. You've allowed Uber to make all the mistakes. You've allowed Just Eat to make all the mistakes. You've allowed Amazon to invest and to test the market. And all you do is come in and you learn. That's what mentorship is.
But look at social media, for instance. What are they doing across all the platforms? They look at who introduced stories the first. Snapchat, right? Yeah. The 60-second thing across 24 hours and then it's lost. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, every single platform has it. And then why? Because it's actually a model that works. Yes. And no one is going to sue this because they just copied that. No, it just happens.
This is why people don't get to where they want to get to. You have £10,000 in your bank and you think keeping that £10,000 in your bank means you're doing okay. But again, that £10,000 becomes £9,000 the next year. That £9,000 becomes $8,600 the next year. Yeah. So just the idea of having money means you're losing money. So how do you grow your money? How do you create wealth? You can't. And that's because you haven't learned how to make money. Right. The truth is this. The average person is not taught. Again, that's another discussion we can have. They don't teach financial education in school, which in some cases, I understand why they don't. And I also understand why they should.
Do you think they don't want people to be, everyone to be like financially free?
It's not that I don't think. I am 100% certain. And someone's going to say, how can you be 100% certain? I'll give you evidence why I believe that. So again, number one, The person that's going to teach you the financial education, your teacher, are they in a financial position?
No.
Cool. I'm happy you answer it. I'm going to ask you a few questions then. Is the average teacher in the financial position to teach a child about finance?
Absolutely not.
Is the average teacher getting an average salary? Have they been able to buy multiple properties?
No, absolutely not.
Cool.
It's what happens in universities, like business, people teaching business classes and...
I went to uni and after year 2, I said, you know what? This is long. I went to uni to study business studies.
Right.
My teacher was a terrible teacher, number one, or my lecturer, terrible lecturer, and had never run a business before in their lives. But you're teaching me how to read a book. I could have stayed at home, saved all that money and read the same book myself.
Yeah.
I had to figure it all out when I left university with all that debt and figure out what business is. Even what they teach you in business books, I'm sorry, it actually does nothing. It does nothing. Business is literally getting on your hands and knees, putting in the work, doing the graft, and learning, and then changing what doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's iteration, practice, 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 try again, practice, practice, practice. But most people don't even have the time to do so. Most people have this illusion that if I start a business today, oh my God, I'm going to be rich tomorrow. The truth is, look at the average business.
Instant gratification.
This is the problem with social media. Social media, great tool. You and I generate lots of money just by social media. So it's got its positives, but it's had a significant detriment on this new school kids.
Right.
Everything has to be done today. Whereas any credible business person knows that the longer you stay in one game, one business, one game, you put your head down 3 to 5 years, there's a guarantee that you will be successful. Uber, Facebook, Tesla.
Deliveroo, yeah, everyone.
All these businesses are not even in profit yet. Only a handful of them have just got into profit, but they've been around for 10 plus years. They're playing the long game. So you find a business that you want to do. You make sure that there's room in that industry for you.
Yep.
You double down. You make all your mistakes. You learn the lessons. You find somebody who's doing well in that industry. You ask them the right questions. You shadow them. You ask them to mentor you. You provide some sort of value for them to spend time with you, and you copy them. There is no business that anyone's going to start today that isn't copyable. Whatever it is that you think you're going to do, someone's doing a version of it. Go and find that person. Your success is actually already buried inside somebody else. All you need to do is get access to them, unlock the key, and you've cut your journey by half. I say in order to be successful, you need to do one thing successfully. Obviously, still fail, still make mistakes, but consistently over a 3 to 5 year period. You get one mentor. That 3 to 5 year period could be cut down to 18 months. So for the people that want to go quick, which I don't agree with, find someone that's been there, done it, and is doing it. They're going to stop you from being robbed around the corner.
Yeah. So it's like baking a cake, right? I mean, sometimes you have...
I can't cook.
I love to cook.
I was about to say, that analogy, bro. KFC.
Listen, let's say I love to cook, which is the truth. And you, TJ, asked me for a recipe of a chocolate cake.
Yeah.
I give you the ingredients, the amount of how much flour you need to put, what chocolate you need to use, and I give you all the steps, step by step, how you actually should do it. And then what you decide to do, you know what, actually, Hadja, I like a bit of vanilla, so I'm just going to add the vanilla. But instead of putting 500 grams, I'm just going to try and cut that flour to 400 grams. And then you blame me why the recipe didn't work and why that actually cake didn't turn out the same.
Do you know what's interesting?
As mine.
They wouldn't blame you. They'll blame the government. Every single person wants to feel vilified. You want to feel as if somebody owed you something and they didn't fulfill their side of the bargain. Let's be frank, the government is not on your side. The governments are not going to do anything to appease or to help every single person. You're in this game by yourself.
Absolutely.
Everything that you want to achieve, you've got to find a way to do it yourself. But people are always looking for a crutch. They're always looking for someone to give them a handout, someone to help them out. But the reality is, no one's ever going to help you unless you help yourself. Show me that you've attempted to help yourself, and then I can step in and show you how it's done also.
Beautiful. Well, I'm loving this.
Okay.
I'm loving this. Okay. It's just, we're going, and I like your analogy, and I'm sure we agree on a lot of points, which is amazing.
I'm sure we probably don't agree on a number of things as
probably,
well.
Probably, which is fine.
Which is what life is about. Yeah. New school people, everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to, everyone wants to have an opinion and everyone doesn't want to hear other people's opinion. The truth is this, you can hear what I'm saying today and you can say, do you know what? It's not for me. Tune off. But for the people that listen, this effectively is their form of mentorship. Podcast, new education, new pathways being created in your brain changes your behavior. Everything. I say this with all confidence. Everything comes down to what you believe about yourself. I speak about this with such confidence.
Yeah.
What you think about yourself will determine the outcome. If you don't believe that you deserve to make money, you'll never make money. If you come from somewhere where money has never been spoken about positively, you'll never make money. This is the difference between poor people and rich people. Rich people, as I mentioned earlier on, teach their children very early on about what money is, how money works, how to make money. The most important thing that I know every rich person teaches their kids is not even how to make money. It's how to not think money is this big evil thing. Coming from a Christian background, people misquote the Bible. Money is the root of all evil. Does that make sense? And if you go to church every single Sunday and the pastor is saying money is the root of all evil, what does that mean to you? It says, maybe I don't need to focus on money. Maybe I don't need to have a lot of money. But let's talk about impact. You need money to have mass impact. You need money to change people's lives. You need money to change your life. You need money to put your children in a good position. You need money to go on nice holidays. But you can't tell me you don't care about money. Anyone that says to me they don't care about money, it's a lie. I'm saying it confidently. If you've ever sat there and you said, money is not important to me, it's because you don't have it.
Yeah,
and you don't have a clear pathway on how you can attain it. Therefore, guess what it does? It becomes your belief. Now you believe it, then you speak it and you become it.
It's like people who say beauty is not that important. Oh, the beauty is beauty what's on the inside.
Let's be frank. Let's be frank. Beauty is very, very important. Because again, as much as society is shallow.
Exactly.
The
but
point
it matters,
is it,
right? It matters.
Put it in this perspective. Society is shallow. There's nothing you or I are going to do that's going to change how people behave in society. That's how it is.
Yeah.
So put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
Put your best foot forward. Do your best. And I talk about this all the time. There's something called prettyism. There's certain benefits that some people get just because they are pretty. Yeah. So put your best foot forward.
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, being a beautiful person from the inside is also very important because, of course, you can't be horrible. But yeah, just looking at the industry right now, the beauty industry is probably the most.
Do you know what? It's like saying being a rich person on the inside. Listen, there's no such thing. I can't identify as rich. Yeah, it's either you are rich,
or
and
probably you can now with 2023.
Yeah, well, 2023, I identify as a billionaire. Yeah, but let me go to the bank and try and buy a spaceship. They're going to send me back home. In fact, they'll deport me back to Nigeria. Yeah, the point is this. I think you mentioned something that I wanted to touch on. It was so important about goals. People talk about, I want to become a billionaire overnight. I'm the biggest advocate for small goals. I don't want people to delude themselves by having big goals. I know we speak about this all the time. Dream bigger.
Yeah.
The whole idea of a dream is big. It's good to dream big, but you've got to chunk it down to small goals because people need to start studying and understand how the brain works. The way we are designed, our brain is designed to protect us. This is why it's in this hard case, in this shell. Your brain's job fundamentally is to protect this entire perfect looking TJ specimen 10 out of 10 man. That's what my brain is designed for. That was supposed to be a joke, by the way, in case anyone doesn't get it. But the reason you didn't react, you're like, yeah, he's probably talking about himself again. Yeah.
Listen, I know we've been friends for some time, and I know you're right.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm a handsome man. Yeah, so and so. But the point I'm making is, let me actually give some content here. Your brain is designed to protect you. Yeah. So when it encounters anything that remotely feels like stress or hard work, automatically we start to feel our palms sweating, our pupils dilate, we get nervous. That's your brain sending signals to say, hey, TJ, don't take action. Calm yourself down. Yeah. This is the thing. Most people don't know how to trick your brain to enable you to get to the next level.
Do you know what? That's very, very important point you just said. And I'm just going to give you an example, maybe our audience, maybe to also take advantage of what I love. I'm a big believer. I'm a visionary person. I love to see things, but I'm really shit at breaking things down. However, the team I have behind me is completely opposite to who I am. They like to make my dreams come true.
Yeah.
So I have this girl of mine, and she's amazing, and I'm happy to have her in my team. And the way she operates is like, okay, you know what? I tell her today, we have to hit this. She goes on Trello. She breaks it down to very small steps on how we're actually, and she works it backward.
Yes.
She works it backward. Okay, for me to reach this goal, what do I need? I need this.
Yeah.
For me to get to this, I will need this. And then you will have like 10 or 20 mini steps that are very, very achievable. So if you look at the big picture, like, oh my God, how am I going to do that? But if you take the very little steps, it's doable.
That's exactly how every single person should live their lives. Exactly what you just mentioned. Small, bite-sized steps. Because as I was saying, your brain can't fathom. Listen, let's put it in perspective. The average person has got 24p in their account, but you're at home looking in the mirror, doing affirmations to say, I am a billionaire. Your brain is laughing at you, bro. Your brain is saying, trust me, don't open that Monzo app because you're not going to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
And that's your brain just telling you the truth. However, if you say, okay, I've got 24 pence in my account, my next goal is £100.
Yeah.
Your brain can comprehend that because your brain says, okay, £100. I can imagine how we can do it. Then you hit your £100. Then your brain says, okay, we hit £100. I wasn't too stressed out. It didn't affect my body. It didn't cause me stress. Let's go to £1,000. That's how you hit the big goals. It's the small stages and the small steps. Having big goals has the opposite effect. It scares your brain, the computer system. It scares it and it shuts down. And this is why people have big goals and then they end up in a week shutting it down. Because your brain is saying, bro, don't be silly. How do you expect us to become a billionaire? Again, go from a psychological point of view. Hold on. Your family have never made any money. You come from poverty. You come from this council estate, but you really believe you're going to become a millionaire? Grow up. Go back to work.
Yeah.
Sort yourself out. Come back to me with a new idea. But this leads on to something that I want to teach people. There's something called the RAS. I don't know. Have you come across the RAS before?
No, not really.
Cool. So for anyone watching this, please pay specific attention to this because this is information that most people don't have. There's a reason why some people's goals become true. It's simply because of something called the RAS, small tiny part of our brain called the reticular activating system. What that does is it narrows down on your goals. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It narrows down specifically to pinpoint. So if you said, oh, do you know what? I've done well. I'm gonna buy myself a pair of shoes. I'm going to buy myself a pair of £1,000 shoes. All of a sudden, you start to see that shoe everywhere.
Yeah.
Or I want to buy a car.
Yeah.
And you believe that.
Yeah.
You buy into it. Your brain starts to buy into it. You think about it all the time.
Absolutely.
It becomes a center point of your brain. You start to see that car everywhere.
single
Now, was it that the car didn't exist before, the shoes didn't exist before? No, it's just because you went in tune to it.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to people is if you want to be successful and you want any of your goals to become true, you've got to understand how your brain works. Your brain is designed to protect you. So what you've got to do is ease and tease your brain to believe in that it is possible. And how do you do that? If it's a pair of shoes that you want to buy or it's a fancy car that you want to buy, you've got to go test drive it. And your brain test driving it doesn't know the difference between you acquiring it and you test driving it. So your brain starts to relax to say, hold on, okay, £1,000 pair of shoes. Oh, that feels good. You sit in the car, you sniff the engine. This sounds crazy. This was what I did before I bought my first ever supercar. You sit in the car, you hear the engine roar, you engage all your senses. You trick your brain to say, we look good in this. The engine feels amazing. Oh, this feels so comfortable. Oh, the leather smells amazing. And your brain starts to believe it and you do it consistently. Guess what your brain then does? It starts to find pathways to make that true. That's the RAS. This is what the average person lacks. They want to be successful, but they don't have a path. The reason some people are successful, and anyone that you and I know that's successful, they're doing that one thing only, and they become obsessed with that one thing because they're tricking their brain to say, this is the one thing that I want to achieve. Make me achieve it. You can't bypass your brain. You can't say to your brain, hey, get me £1 million or £1 billion tomorrow. Your brain saying, it's not how it works, bro.
It's not how it works.
It's not how it works. Where do you expect us to get £1 billion from, bro?
Yeah.
Where am I going to magically get £1 billion from? But you say to your brain, hey, do you know what? I want to make £1 million.
Yeah.
Your brain is still laughing at you, but then you take your brain on a date. You go to Mayfair, you hang around with millionaires. You go to networking events. You get a new mentor that's doing incredible. They introduce you and your brain to this new way of living. Your brain starts to accept it as a truth. Because I said, what you believe will determine the outcome.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize that your brain already has the data, and your brain governs the direction of your feet. And if your brain is saying, you can't do that, your brain's never going to allow your feet to walk in the direction. If your brain is saying, how do you expect to make £1 million? Your brain's never going to say, let's try out something. Let's take action worth £1 million. So you've got to trick yourself. Go to those places. Try on those shoes. Try on that expensive jacket. Try on that
That's exactly
Lamborghini.
what I used to do. I used to work for Selfridges in the past. And I was, again, I repeat it, I was a perfume girl.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to say it. And I used to walk through Louis Vuitton department, and I would go through Gucci, and I'm like, you know what? If I want to do this, and if I want to earn them, I was feeling them. I was just testing the back, and I'm like, you know what? I want this.
But
I'm not going to do it on a £1,600 a month.
The proximity to success will determine how quickly you succeed.
And I put myself into that environment, you know. I started believing that I actually earn and own things like that.
But check it, because you see other people walking around you and you say, hold on 1 second. If she or he can do this, then I can also do it. But if you're staying in your room, sitting down, playing computer games, scrolling through TikTok, and you're not seeing normal other people just like yourselves in the Lamborghini showroom, in the Rolex store, you're going to pretend and believe it's such a big thing. Yeah. You've got to get yourself in the room.
Obviously, don't make it all about brands, and don't make yourself all about that. I mean, it's not... I mean, if you don't like brands, it's completely fine. Like, for example, one of my mentors loves cars. He loves cars. And he's got, you know... And it's fine, because that's what you really love. And that's who you really are. But if you're not about that, don't do it just because you want to look like someone else, or you want to look like you already have money, or no, don't do it for that. Do it for yourself. If you love it, do it. If you don't love it, just don't do it. Well, I wanna have a quick game with you.
Okay, let's go.
I wanna have like a fire kind of round.
Should I be nervous?
Should be.
Let's go.
Before we do that, if you guys are loving this episode, remember, this is the first episode. We have loads that's coming up for you. And if you're loving this episode, give us a follow, subscribe to our channel. And we're going to bring the best of the guests. We promise you that. Everyone who's going to be with us is going to be at a certain level of success. So give us a subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section down below. You know, we'll make sure that we answer them in the next episode for you. Well, let's come back to you, TJ.
Okay,
let's.
cool.
It's going to be a quick fire round.
Okay.
Just like 5-6 questions.
So I just answer them, yeah?
Quickly.
No explanation.
Literally, I want to talk to your unconscious.
Okay.
I don't want you to think. Okay. I want you to have like a 2-3 seconds.
This is how people get cancelled, guys. Let's go.
All right. TikTok, Instagram. Love or money?
Money.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Investing in property or mentoring?
Mentoring.
Andrew Tate or Obama?
Andrew Tate all day.
Ooh.
Yep.
We're going to come back to this.
Okay, sure.
Rihanna,
Beyonce. No, I take that back. Old school Beyonce. 10 years ago Beyonce. Rihanna today.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Riri?
Really,
All the way.
If you're watching this, Riri, I don't think I can afford to date Rihanna.
Bro, you're naughty, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, last one.
Okay.
500K or dinner with Jay-Z?
Whoa. And I can't explain. I just pick one.
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
We'll come back to that.
Dinner with Jay-Z.
Dinner with Jay-Z. Okay, well, look. Let's come back to a few of them, okay? You said, well, Rihanna and Beyonce, we understand that.
Okay.
You said money over love?
Yeah. Okay.
Why?
Cool. People are going to say, oh my God, he's so lonely. You say, oh my God, he needs therapy. I do therapy. I don't believe in love. I don't believe in love. I believe, so again, this is just how my brain works.
Okay.
So at university, I wrote a thesis, obviously in my room by myself, why love doesn't exist. Love doesn't exist. I believe in order to love somebody, would you agree that you've got to spend time with them?
Absolutely.
Yeah? So
Absolutely.
you don't believe in love at first sight?
Well, you know what? I'll take that back.
Okay.
I'll take that back. I have loved people in my life that I've never met.
That's not love. It's not love. It's like. Let me explain the reason why. Can you like somebody you've just met?
You can like someone that
Absolutely.
you just met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like is the foundation for love. Love is a build up of likes.
Yeah.
So you've got to like somebody, spend time with them. So love is like times time. So let's imagine love is number 10 on a scale of things. You meet me. First time, you like me, you like my personality, we get along well, we spend more time. So we go on 1 date, 2 dates, 3 dates. You like me more. Does that make sense? It's a natural feeling. Love is a natural feeling.
Right.
Love is a spillover of like. You've got to the place where you like me times 1, like me times 2, like me times 3. We get to number 10 and you're like, how do I describe how I feel for this person? You just like me times 10. We choose to call it love. Love is just like times 10. I like people. I just don't think it's that vital. I think you can have multiple relationships. I'm not saying I'm a polygamous guy. That's what it sounds like. Yeah. But the thing is, I choose money, and you know what? Anyone that knows me knows I make money not even for myself. I don't spend the money I make.
All right. So you're talking about men and woman love here,
Yeah.
or you're talking about in general love? Because I'm sure you love your family.
Man and woman love. And woman love. I love my family also because I spend time with them.
Yeah.
People will argue, and again, this is just me. This is just my belief. A mother naturally loves their child. It falls right into my theory. 9 months with that mother is time. You get to love the person. There are going to be mothers that come out and say, you don't know how it feels. You've never carried a baby. True. Stand corrected. People can, I just knew I loved them from when. No, you spent time with that child and you spent 9 months nurturing, a position of nurturing, a position of protectorship. Yeah, that's it.
I tell you what I think.
Yeah.
You might not agree with me. First point, actually.
I know, right?
Oh,
I know.
I have heard before, and I've read about people. I'm Muslim, right? I've heard about my prophet, and I love him because of who he was and how he acted and how. And I've seen similar stories where, for example, someone hasn't grew up or didn't get to know their grandparents, and they heard about them because their parents were telling them about them so much to a point it painted the picture in their head, and they're like, you know what, I actually love this person. I would have loved to meet them. Or you could be reading about someone in a book and say, you know what, I actually love how this person is just because of how they are being described.
Yeah, I think you like them. I think you like them. I think you
I
like.
definitely like them,
You
but-
like what they stand for. You hear stories about your grandfather. Your grandfather fought in the war. He was heroic. He demonstrated the things that cause people to like. What are the things that cause people to like people? Fundamentally, it comes down to charisma.
Yeah.
There's something about them.
Yeah.
You like them. You like them.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
We'll agree to disagree.
I agree to disagree.
All right.
Next one. Let me come back to. You said mentoring over investment. I think we spoke about mentoring.
Yeah.
And I know it's a source of income, but it also gives you some sort of feeling from how you're helping others, isn't it?
Absolutely. So for me, as I said, money is everything. Yeah. But I've got to caveat that money is a tool to enhance society. That's what I believe. I look at people like Elon Musk. Fundamentally, he's one of the world's richest men,
Yeah.
a billionaire. He's frugal. He's simple. That's the same as me. Of course, I'm not comparing myself to Elon. I don't think...
But you can.
Well, I can't. On any level, actually, no. I respect him too much to make that comparison. He's a billionaire and he's incredibly sharp. Yeah, yeah, I even thought about it for a second. Don't lie to me. But so there are some people, including myself, that I think money is a tool Nigerian accent came out there. Money is a tool to enhance other people's lives, and for me, that's more important than anything.
You should claim
else.
that quote, by the way.
What's that?
You should claim that quote, by the way.
Money is a tool to enhance people's lives.
Have you heard that before?
No, I've just made
Exactly.
that up. Okay, that's
you
me.
should claim it, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's me. That leads on to even something I didn't mention to you, that I'm leaving a property space. I'm retiring.
I was coming to that one.
Yeah.
Why are you?
Okay, I'll tell you exactly what it was. In September.
Are you no longer in love with property?
No, I was always in like with property.
That was, you know what?
That was a good one. So I'm a big believer in giving. I'm a big giver, literally. It's just similar to what I was talking about. Money is there to enhance and to help other people. Yes, you help yourself first. That's the truth. But I give a lot of money away. I would say 30-40% of my monthly income, I give it away. That's not to show off. I'm just trying to tell people, do it also if you can. And one day I gave £300 to one random church.
Yeah.
And the pastor came back to me and she sent me a text message. She took the 300 and she gave it to 3 people. One person sent a text message back, and what she wrote in that text message broke my heart. And I'm hardcore. I'm doing therapy because I need to work on the more emotional side. And the text message said, "Dear pastor," because it was addressed to the pastor, and it said, "Thank you so much for this £100. I only had 78 pence in my..." Oh God, I'm gonna flip and cry.
You're making me cry.
I'm gonna flip and cry.
Listen, I'm a very sensitive person. Please.
I'm not, bro. Like literally. So she said, "Dear pastor, I only had 78 pence in my account to feed my kids this week." When I got that message, I got angry. My first feeling was anger because I thought it was a lie. I was like, "You ungrateful person. Why are you making up stories?" So I called the woman because I was like, "You know what? You're taking a mick. I want my £100 back." When I spoke to her, I started sobbing on the phone to her. She explained her husband had left her. He had brought them to this country. He had disappeared. She doesn't have any income. She's got 3 kids. And she was, this word for word, I swear to you, this was word for word. She was going, this is like 46, 47-year-old woman. She was going to go and steal from the shop and shoplift in order to feed her kids. I said, "What?" Now, it made me sit down for a second. And I said, "What are you saying to me that there are grown adults in the UK, in this country, that don't have money to feed their kids?" I'm privileged to a certain degree. I could go out and I could, on a night out, I could spend £1,000 and I would be okay. So I sent her another £500. But I got thinking and I said, shit, if this is what people are going through, what can I do to have much more impact? So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to give away £1 million. Literally. I said, my goal for the next 12 months is to give away £1 million. I don't give a shit about making money right now. I want to have impact. I want to change people's lives. I want to find single mothers out there that are struggling and I want to give them money. I want to change people's lives for the better. But there are a few reasons I'm doing this. Because I feel great when I do it. So people say, "Oh, well, you know, you're just doing it for clout." Absolutely. I'm doing it because it makes me feel incredible. I'm doing it because I'm grateful that I'm in a position that I can give people money. And you're inspiring others
to do the
same? And I'm inspiring other people to do it.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give £300.
You guys heard this.
Hold me accountable.
I will hold you accountable.
I'm going to give £300 to match what you gave initially. And thank you for inspiring me to do so.
Thank you so much.
Man. And maybe we're going to inspire more people to do that.
Yeah.
And we're going to give it to people who are actually in need.
Yes, please. Because for me, it was the realization that, again, nothing wrong with being privileged. I don't think there's anything wrong with being privileged. It was just so fascinating to me that somebody genuinely, as a grown adult, only has 78 pence in their account. I said, you know what, something has to be done. And I'm not the government. The government will do whatever they're going to do or not do whatever they're going to do. We're about to go through a cost of living crisis. Interestingly, you mentioned about my book. I was due to semi-retire from property in January, 4th of January. Everything was already in place. And that was the goal. But when this happened in September, I scrapped everything. I said, forget about it. Put the book on the back burner. I don't want to talk about my book. I'm not interested in any of this stuff. I want to change people's lives. And so far, I think since September, I've given away about £30,000.
Wow.
Since September. So just today, as we're recording this podcast, we gave away £500 to pay for someone's energy bills. Yeah. The whole game is literally have impact, but biologically, it's the best thing because I feel amazing.
Yeah.
From an ego point of view, it's someone coming back to me to say, hold on one second, TJ. You don't know the impact that you had. So we gave away £400 to 5 people over Christmas.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one on Instagram.
And someone came back and wrote a message and she said, I lied to my children that Christmas was cancelled this year because I couldn't afford to buy them presents and I couldn't afford to buy them food for Christmas. Thank you so much. You have just saved my life. And what does that do for me? Increases dopamine levels. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
Let's go again. Let's go again.
Yeah.
Let's go again and again.
Yeah.
And so
this is what being a successful person and now a wealthy person has allowed you to do. It's not just me. It's about the community. It's about other people. It's about, you know what? God has given you that money for you to be maybe responsible for others. And I think, and also you're sharing your knowledge for those people to go and just do the exact same thing. Yeah. Have you watched that movie called Pay It Forward?
No.
It's basically this man who does something good. And then in return, people want to pay him. And they say, no, don't pay me. Just do the exact same thing to 3 other people.
Yeah.
And then he goes and does the exact same thing. And when people want to pay him, they're like, no, don't pay me. Just go and do it. And that turned around and came back to him.
And that's what I want to do.
Concept.
That's exactly what I want to do. So in fact, one of the giveaways we did, I think we gave £100 to a single mum. We never know their story in the first place. We just know that someone that needs help and they come forward. And we gave away £100 and I recorded a video saying, hey, we've just given £100 to this person. She said she's a single mum. She's going to use the money to buy nappies and buy stuff for her child. Yeah. And I've had about 6 people that have messaged me to say, oh my God, my wife is on maternity leave. Or is it possible to give extra money to this person? This one person that got £100 has now got £600 from 6 different people that have said, can I send some money to that person?
Wow.
I resonate with that person. Thank you so much for inspiring me to do so. Wow. So if all I can do, again, I want to show people something very quickly. Give money. Because whether you're a Christian, Buddhist, whatever religion, it says it there. The law of the land is if you sow, you will reap.
Yeah.
If you give, you will get back.
Absolutely.
So even if you're giving, I know this sounds crazy, with the intention of getting it back, you will still get it back. But you're having impact and you're changing people's lives. And you never know how much impact that's going to have on a person's generation. You don't know what it does for their well-being. And I have fights on TikTok every single day. I posted about I love it.
Do.
I love it.
You love raving.
I think it builds up character. It enables you to know that the world is a weird place. Yes. Yeah. I posted about this woman and we helped her out and so and so. And someone said, well, maybe she should focus on not having more children. And I'm like, you absolute donut. You haven't even learnt what empathy is. The truth is you can't help every single person, but circumstances change. This was one of the reasons I got into property. I went to 6 different primary schools. There was no stability.
Obviously.
Yeah, I was getting in trouble left, right and centre. There was no stability. So when I said, okay, I'm going to invest in property, it was fundamentally because I wanted that one place that if shit ever hit the fan, at least I know I have a roof over my head and I can start again. Yeah. Many people don't have that. So it means you can't start again and you can't build yourself back up. So yeah, if people want to change people's lives and they want to change their lives, learn to give more. And that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully I can give away £1 million in the next 12 months. And
well, you're already 30K
I'm
in.
30K in, so
great.
I can't change my mind. And now I've said it on this podcast, now I can't just quietly disappear.
We're holding you accountable.
Hold me accountable.
Well, look, next one is going to be, if I come back to Andrew Tate and Obama.
Okay. Yeah.
You said Andrew Tate. Well, look, as much as I love Obama, I'm definitely going to agree.
Are you on the same side as me?
I'm a woman.
Okay.
And I'm saying Andrew Tate.
Okay. Can I give you my reason for Andrew Tate?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're my guest.
So let's put it in perspective. We're both in business. Andrew Tate, from a business perspective, has shown how the market relates to how advertising is done. You and I spend a lot of money every single month and every single year on advertising. Yeah. Andrew Tate, from a business perspective, no one can touch that guy. No one. There's so many lessons to learn with regards to his marketing.
And has done it by being paid. We spend money.
And he's done it for free. And he's getting paid. He's getting paid.
He's getting paid for
again,
it.
from a social point of view, of course, there are certain things I don't agree with when it comes down to Andrew and the certain ways he speaks. But if we're looking at it solely from a business point of view, I think every single person can take lessons. There are going to be some people that, oh my God, I can't learn anything from Andrew. If you can't learn anything from people that you don't like, that's the reason why you're not successful. It's not going to be, you can't just learn from Barack Obama because he's a nice person. There are tools, there are systems, there are ideologies that you can pick up.
Yeah.
You form your belief based on that, and you take what works. Absolutely. Andrew knows how to reach the audience. At some point, he was the most searched man. If my business was the most searched business on this earth, I would be generating billions every single month. And my goal would not to be give away 1 million, but to give away a billion.
Actually, he went way better than, I mean, he was the most searched man before Trump.
Before Trump.
Because Trump was at some point the most searched man.
There is a lesson to be learned here. Again, controversy sells in every single case. Controversy sells. Also, being opinionated and keeping and having some level of, whether it's integrity, it's self-integrity. You believe what you believe and you stand by it, whether or not the world is coming against you. And I think people need to learn that skill also. If you believe something, stand by it.
Yeah.
Whether it's your truth or not, whether you're going to upset 1 billion people, you believe it to be true. You know your character, stand by it. And we see the example, Trump stands by it. Many people don't like him. Andrew stands by it. Yep. But from a business point of view, we could not pay for the sort of marketing Andrew or Trump have garnered over the last few years. It would cost us billions of pounds to get that same level of attention. So, yeah.
Or even more, probably.
Yeah, probably even more. Probably significantly more. He's on every single TV channel. He's on every single newspaper. He's on, yeah.
Even
and
he
hasn't
has
paid
been
for it.
actually
Cancelled also.
cancelled
Yeah.
and banned on from
Yeah,
them.
I don't
Wow.
believe in cancellation. I don't believe in
neither.
cancellation. I think it's ridiculous. There are going to be people you don't agree with, but this is how you grow. Different perspectives. You learn from other people. And if you don't like them, turn off the damn TV channel. I could have a whole conversation about Andrew. There are things that I agree with. There are things I don't agree with. He's not somebody that I don't flatly disagree with. There are ideas, there are certain things that make sense.
Absolutely.
And there are certain things that don't make sense. And I can pick out certain things that we've just picked out.
Yeah.
We haven't spoken about other things. We've picked out the marketing angle.
Yeah.
And I can learn from that. And I think people need to be a lot more open. Stop trying to cancel people. And everyone that's cancelling people is because they know that they will never be in a position to be cancelable. So you're going to live a basic life. You're never going to put your head above the fold to stand out.
Yeah.
And that's why you're happy to cancel. If you thought you had prospect of being popular and building a business online, you wouldn't believe in cancellation culture.
Totally agree. Well, he's gone way beyond and to do amazing things. Yeah. And if I put a number to it, I'm probably gonna say I agree with 80% of what he says.
Yeah,
so
me too.
Probably
me
like,
too.
Yeah, so
I'm about 72%.
be more specific.
Yeah.
See how horrible he is. So basically, I mean, the majority of things just make sense. Majority of what he says.
A lot of it
makes
is
sense.
logical. If you look at things from a logical point of view, I get it. It's easy to be emotional about it, men and women. It's easy. Yeah. But if we look at it just baseline logic, and it's difficult. I get it. It's hard to just say, I'm going to be logical today. We're governed by our emotions. Yeah. But if you look at it from an outside point of view.
And there's so many things that, listen, we might just believe in, but don't admit.
Spot on.
We cannot just put them out.
Yeah, because people don't want to be cancelled. People don't want to stand on this side. And I think truth, money, success follows if you are honest to yourself. Yeah. Many people can't be because you care about what other people think about you. I think one of the greatest skills, why I have fights on TikTok, and I used to have fights on Instagram, was to build up this callous, is to build up this self-belief in myself that whatever anyone says means absolutely nothing to me. I haven't caused harm. I believe what I'm saying. I believe it's for the good. If you don't agree, you don't agree. I actually go out there looking for trouble so that I now know that... No, but think about it. You now know that it means nothing to you. People don't put themselves out there because they're scared of what might potentially happen. But once people cuss you out online a few times, you're just like, oh, is that it? Oh, is that how it feels? Oh, okay, cool. Let me create more content.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. Well, look, let's go back to the last one. Why dinner with Jay-Z?
Oh, so as a business person, before I sign that contract to take the 500K or to or dinner with Jay-Z,
a few questions.
I would ask a few questions. Yeah. Question number one. What restaurant are we going to? Number one, because dinner with Jay-Z could be KFC. KFC's fast food.
But if KFC brings you 500K, don't you like KFC? You love chicken, I'm sure.
Yeah, I love my chicken and chips. I talk about that all the time. But realistically, there's questions you've got to ask first. Yeah. So how long is the dinner? Is Jay-Z going to be eating? Does that make sense? Is he eating or is it just me eating? Because he needs to be able to talk while we're having dinner. And what can I ask him? Is it a quiet restaurant? Is it a loud restaurant where I can ask questions? Can
is
I
it
follow up?
videotaped? Like, is it a podcast? Is it marketable?
Spot on. Is it live? If it's live and it's broadcasted, that's me reaching Jay-Z's audience.
Listen, this is more than 500K. If it's marketable, it's more than 500K.
The average person doesn't know how they would ever generate 100K, 200K, 500K, or $1 million. This is why they'll take that money. Don't get me wrong. Many months ago, I would have said, take the 500K because I know what I can do. 500K buys me another 10 properties easily. Yeah. Does that make sense? Because I know what to do with it. The average person doesn't know what they will do with that 500K. And the average person will take the 500 and they will still be broke the next week or the next month.
Which is why the people who win the lottery just get broke within a year.
75% of people that win the lottery go broke.
Within a year or two,
But let me give you more interesting stats. 60% of businesses fail within their first year. Another 30% fell in their third year. So even if you took that £500,000, if you don't know what to do, if you don't believe you can be successful, if you don't have a plan or a mentor, that 500K becomes £50,000 and then becomes zero.
Literally goes back to what we were just talking about.
Everything is this. Go do some mental work. Go do some work on your self-belief, why you believe what you believe, who you are, who gave you the information. So there's this thing that we say, monkey see, monkey do. But in reality is, who taught me this information? Who are they? And should I listen to them? That determines who you are.
Oh my God. I think we should have a
part two.
A part two. I think we should. I mean, well, let me know in the comment section. Okay. Should we bring him back again?
Oh, come on, guys. That would be so embarrassing. Everyone say, no, he was just chatting rubbish.
Imagine. Ooh. I'll have a poll, actually,
Do you know what? Do it. Because I sit here and I'm like, to me, this is basic stuff because I know what I'm saying and I believe it.
Yeah.
But to the average person, it might just be like, what nonsense is that? Ooh, we'll find out from you guys.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, TJ, for being here. Much. I've enjoyed this, and I think this is going to be very, very informative for every single one of you guys.
I hope so.
If you want to get in touch with TJ, how do we do that?
Instagram mainly, so TJ Alife, so TJALIFE on Instagram, and TikTok.
The same thing. Well, I'm going to put it down in the description down below. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can find it on the description box down below. If you're hearing us on the podcast platforms, just like Spotify, iTunes, we're going to, he just said it, TJ Alife.
Yes.
Yeah, TJ Alife, literally. So thank you very much for watching this episode, and I'll see you in the next episode.